If you love a good challenge, survival games are where it's at. Today we're looking at the top 10 greatest survival games of all time, games you have to play. From crafting gear to battling the elements, these games will test you in every way. Get ready to see which ones truly stand above the rest. The Long Dark. So The Long Dark is one of those games where you really have to slow down and think. It's not fast or flashy at all, and that's kind of what makes it so good. You're basically dropped into this big, frozen Canadian wilderness after some weird disaster that messed up all the power. No phones, no help, just you and the cold. And you gotta survive, that's the whole game. You gotta find food, stay warm, drink water, and sleep before you get too tired. Sounds easy at first, right? But oh man, the game is hard. Everything in the world is trying to kill you. The freezing wind, the crazy snowstorms, the wolves sneaking around in the dark. Even if the animals don't get you, you could just starve or freeze if you're not careful. Every tiny thing matters, like checking your backpack to see if you have enough matches to make a fire, or looking for a warm shelter before night.
Oh yeah.
And when you play, you're always juggling stuff, like you can't carry too much or you'll move really slow. If you wear wet clothes, you'll freeze faster. If you don't eat enough, you'll feel super tired. It's kind of like you're spinning plates all the time, and if one of them falls, that's it, game over. It feels real in a way most games don't. There are different places you can go to, like these creepy empty houses, frozen lakes, train tunnels, and big forest. Every place looks really pretty too. The game's art style is kind of like a painting, so even when you're scared or lost, you can't help but look around and go, wow, this looks nice, until you remember there's a wolf howling somewhere behind you and you have like 2 matches left. And it's not like most games where you just run and shoot stuff. Here, you gotta plan every trip outside. Should you go fishing on that frozen lake? Or check the houses over the hill for canned food? Should you wait for the storm to stop? Or just risk it and hope you make it back before dark? Every choice feels huge because one small mistake can mean you don't make it home at all. There's a story mode that gives you a reason to explore and characters to meet, but a lot of people just love playing the sandbox mode where you see how long you can last. And it really is about you, your skill, your patience, and a bit of luck. Some people go for like 100 days or more, which is crazy. Every new day feels like a big win, especially when you finally craft warm clothes or stock up a bunch of food.
Outsiders. Like you.
So yeah, The Long Dark is one of the best survival games because it feels super real and it never goes easy on you. It's slow and tense, and it really makes you appreciate the small stuff, like one can of beans or a dry pair of socks, in a way most games never do. Once you get into it, it's hard to stop playing because every trip outside feels like a big adventure. If you like games that make you really plan, worry, and work hard to stay alive, this one's gonna hook you for sure. Grounded. You and your friends are tiny and stuck in a big backyard. Everything around you is huge, like grass blades are like big trees, soda cans are like houses, and the bugs? Oh man, the bugs are like straight up monsters. And that's what makes it so cool. The world is this normal, suburban backyard, but from your tiny little view, it feels like this crazy jungle you gotta survive in. Every ant, spider, ladybug, or bee looks huge, and when you first see a big spider jump at you, it's super freaky. The gameplay is a mix of building, crafting, and fighting. You gotta make tools from stuff like grass and twigs, then use them to build your base. It can be as simple as a little shelter, or you can go crazy and build a huge tower with zip lines and bridges. Crafting new gear is super addictive too. Like every new helmet or weapon feels like you earned it because you probably had to fight a big bug or explore some creepy dark hole in the yard to make it. And you're never really safe, which is kind of the fun. Some bugs like ants or aphids don't care about you, but stuff like spiders, stink bugs, or those giant beetles will come after you hard. Every fight feels tense. You gotta block, dodge, and hit back, or you'll end up as bug food. But when you take down something huge and terrifying, it feels so good, like you just beat a boss. And there's this cool sense of discovery too. The backyard is packed with secret spots, like soda cans you can hide in, a big oak tree that's full of spiders, a creepy anthill, or even a flooded area with fish and weird stuff underwater. Every new place looks awesome and feels like a big adventure. Plus, if you play with friends, it's even better. You can explore together, help each other fight off bugs, or work together to build some crazy big base. So yeah, Grounded is one of the most fun survival games because it's super creative and doesn't take itself too seriously. It's kind of funny and kind of scary at the same time. Like, you can be laughing 1 second and then screaming the next when a giant spider drops from a branch. It's one of those games you can sink hours into without even realizing, just making stuff, exploring new spots, and seeing what crazy bug you're gonna run into next. If you like survival games and you want something different and honestly kind of hilarious, this one's so worth playing.
Maybe a simple shelter of some sort.
The Forest. Though the Forest is one of those games that just hooks you super hard. Like, the very first thing that happens is this crazy plane crash and you wake up in the middle of nowhere with your kid missing. Total nightmare setup. And at first you're like, okay, I gotta survive, so you do the basic stuff. You're chopping trees, making a campfire, catching fish and stuff. Feels kinda chill at first, but then you realize you're not exactly alone. Out in these woods, there's these freaky cannibal dudes lurking around, and they don't just jump you right away like dumb game AI or whatever. They kinda watch you. They sneak up close, they do these weird dances, sometimes they leave you alone, and other times they just scream and charge at you like maniacs. It's so freaking tense. And oh man, the nights in this game, totally nerve-wracking. You're sitting there by your tiny fire, you hear a branch snap, and you just know someone's out there. Every noise feels like it's right next to you. It's creepy as hell, but also kind of awesome because you never feel safe. And if that's not crazy enough, there's the caves too, like these super dark tiny little tunnels you gotta squeeze through with just a lighter. Going down into those is honestly one of the most terrifying things I've ever done in a game. You'll run into messed up mutant freaks and these huge nasty monsters, and you're like, why did I do this to myself? But you keep going because there's good gear down there, and honestly the game's super good at making you curious. Subnautica. Subnautica is hands down one of the coolest survival games ever. It's like someone took all the scary stuff about the ocean, you know, the deep water, the huge creatures, and turned it into this crazy adventure where you gotta survive underwater. And the first time you jump in, it's super chill. You crash land on this alien ocean planet, there's bright blue water, little fish swimming around, and you're like, okay, this is kind of nice. You're picking up stuff like coral, making little tools, maybe upgrading your tiny base. But then you look a bit deeper and oh man, it hits you that this ocean is massive and kind of freaky. There are these huge underwater caves, super dark spots where you can't see a thing, and then you hear some big monster roar way off in the distance. It's one of those games where the sound design just messes with you. You'll hear these weird alien wails and creepy gurgles, and you never really know what's gonna come swimming out of the dark. And that's what's so awesome about Subnautica. It's super chill 1 second and terrifying the next. Like, you can be happily making a new submarine or setting up a base with fish tanks, then you go exploring for better materials, and suddenly you're face to face with a Reaper Leviathan that's like 10 times bigger than you. That thing will wreck your whole day. Also, the world itself is just so fun to explore. There are these glowing jellyfish caves, coral reefs, deep trenches, even these creepy alien structures that kind of give you clues about the story. Every biome looks different, and there's always some secret around the corner, so you never really feel bored. And I gotta say, building stuff is super addictive too. Making your own underwater base with glass windows, filling it with lockers, and even an aquarium full of fish you caught yourself is just satisfying, man. It's like a cozy little home, except if you go too far outside, you might get eaten by a sea monster. That mix of beauty, mystery, and pure fear is what makes Subnautica one of the best survival games, period. It looks gorgeous, feels super tense when you need to hunt for stuff, and somehow stays really relaxing too, until it's not. Seriously, it's one of those games that you start up at 9 p.m. and then look at the clock and it's like 2 in the morning and you're still swimming around. Rust. Here in Rust, you wake up naked on some random beach with a rock in your hands, and that's it. No tutorial, no hand-holding. You gotta figure everything out as you go. It's hilarious and kinda stressful at the same time, and that's honestly part of the charm. The whole game is basically one big free-for-all. You can chop some wood, build a little wooden base, craft some basic tools, and then bam, somebody with a gun shows up and raids you. That's Rust in a nutshell. Haha, it's chaotic as hell. But that's also what keeps you hooked. Every time you log in, you never know what's gonna happen. You might run into a chill guy who's like, hey, let's trade, or you might just instantly get shot in the face for your pants. It's unpredictable and kind of funny like that. And building stuff in Rust is super fun too. Getting your own base going is so satisfying, like turning a tiny wooden shack into a big metal fortress over time. You can make traps, upgrade your walls, craft guns and explosives, even tame horses, and all that. The deeper you get into it, the more crazy gear you can make, and that feels super rewarding. Ark Survival Evolved. So, Ark Survival Evolved is one of those games that hits you with the whole what if survival game but dinosaurs idea, and honestly it's as awesome as it sounds. The first time you load in, you're just some random person in your underwear, stuck on this huge island with dinos roaming around like they own the place. You gotta punch trees, pick berries, craft some crappy tools, super basic stuff. But then, oh man, you look up and see a T-Rex stomping around or a Pteranodon flying by, and you instantly realize, okay, this game's gonna be a wild ride. That's kind of the magic of Ark, you know? One minute you're just trying to make a little hut so you don't freeze at night, and the next you're taming a freaking raptor and riding into battle like some prehistoric action hero. Taming dinosaurs is hands down one of the most fun parts. There's just something hilarious and kinda awesome about knocking out a dino with a slingshot, shoving berries in its face, and then making it your buddy. Plus you can level them up, give them armor, some people even paint them crazy colors. It's ridiculous and super fun. It's not just dinos you can tame, there are all kinds of crazy creatures. Big ass saber-tooths, giant birds, even sea monsters. You can build bases up in trees, on boats, on cliffs. People have made some absolutely nuts setups in this game. Plus, flying around on a dino or swimming underwater to explore shipwrecks feels super freeing. That said, Ark can also be super brutal. Other players can raid you anytime, especially on PvP servers. Nothing feels safe, so you gotta hide your stuff well, or team up with a good tribe if you wanna last. That kind of tension is actually super fun too though. One second you're gathering wood, next you're hearing someone on a mic like, haha, I'm gonna steal your raptor, and then you gotta drop everything and fight for your life. It's chaos, but like the good kind. And when you finally get some good gear and a strong dino army, that's when it really feels rewarding. Going after big bosses, joining raids, breeding super strong dinos. There's always some crazy new goal to chase. That's probably why people put hundreds and hundreds of hours into Ark. It's one of those games you can disappear into for days because there's always something to do, someone to fight, or some crazy monster to tame. Total time sink, but in the most fun way. Green hell. You're lost in the Amazon jungle, just you, some bugs, rain pouring down, and like 100 different ways to die. It's one of those games that doesn't hold your hand at all. The game basically goes, here's the jungle, good luck buddy. Green hell is such a freaking wild game, I don't even know where to begin. It's one of those games that feels like a legit fight for your life, like you didn't just boot up a game, you accidentally dropped yourself into some messed up Amazon survival reality show. You're all alone in this crazy green jungle with bugs buzzing around your face, snakes hiding under the grass, jaguars just chilling waiting for you to screw up. It's so much at once. And seriously, you feel every bit of it, like you gotta do everything yourself. It's not like some easy press one button and you're fine kind of game. Nah, you're picking up sticks and vines, rubbing two twigs together like a caveman just to get a fire going, hoping the rain doesn't pour and kill your flame, and food. Forget finding a cozy fridge. You gotta stab some weird jungle animals with a spear or forage for mushrooms that might, like, poison you if you pick the wrong ones. Every choice matters, and it's kinda hilarious and terrifying at the same time. And the crazy part is, it actually looks so good too. You can see water dripping off leaves, mist in the mornings, all the tiny little animals running around. It's super beautiful, but also so freaking tense, because you never stop wondering what's watching you. Half the time I'm just walking around like, please don't jump me, because one tiny noise can mean a predator is nearby. Even drinking water is risky. Like, sure, you're thirsty, but you gotta check that water isn't full of parasites, or you're gonna be puking for the next 20 minutes. It's just so real in that way. If you like games where you gotta figure everything out for yourself, like craft your own bandages, make your own traps, go hunting when you're starving, Green Hell is gonna hook you. It feels super intense because even a dumb mistake like not checking for leeches or forgetting to rest can straight up kill you. It's brutal in a really good way. The jungle looks gorgeous, but every time you admire it too long, you remember, oh yeah, this place can kill me in like 50 different ways. That's kind of the magic of it. And honestly, once you get the hang of surviving, making a decent shelter, cooking your own meat, staying sane, it feels really, really rewarding. You go from being some scared tourist with a stick to this kind of badass jungle survivor who knows their way around. And that's super satisfying. Plus, there's co-op too, so if you want to drag a friend into this nightmare with you, you can both panic together. Valheim. Here what's really cool is the whole Viking vibe going on. You start off with nothing but your fists and a dream, and then slowly you're crafting these sick axes, upgrading your armor, and building these big wooden halls that look like they came straight out of some Nordic saga. Every time you build something new or defeat a boss, it feels like you're making real progress, which is super satisfying. And yeah, the game looks kind of simple at first, like it's not ultra realistic or anything, but honestly, that's part of the charm. The world looks gorgeous once you're in it. The way the light comes through the trees at sunrise, or when you're out on a boat in the middle of a storm and waves are crashing everywhere, it just feels kind of magical and cozy and also a little spooky at times. And I gotta talk about the bosses too. Every time you take one on, it's like a whole event. You gotta prep food, make sure your gear's ready, and then you're going toe to toe with these giant freaking creatures that can wreck you in a few hits. They make you feel super tiny, but that just makes winning feel so good. And even though it's mostly chill, there's always this sense of mystery, like you never know what's on the next hill or across the next ocean. Sometimes you'll find something super cool, like an abandoned village or some crazy monster in a swamp, and it just keeps you hooked. It's not one of those games that hands you a quest list or anything, it's more like, here's the world, have fun, and somehow that's enough. If you're into open world survival stuff, crafting, or you just want a game that feels cozy and dangerous at the same time, Valheim is super easy to recommend. It's one of those games that's so simple at first, but the more you play, the deeper it gets. Definitely give it a shot if you haven't, just make sure you've cleared your weekend first. Don't Starve Together. Alright, so Don't Starve Together is one of those games that looks kinda cute and goofy at first, like with its hand-drawn Tim Burton-ish style, and then it hits you with, oh wow, this is actually super stressful. You drop into this weird dark world with pretty much nothing, and it's up to you to figure out how not to starve, not freeze, and not get eaten by some creepy monster that comes out at night. And the game never really slows down. Every day you gotta plan what you're gonna do. You go hunt food, gather some wood before it gets dark, craft better tools so you don't get wrecked by the next monster. There's always this pressure because time's always moving, the seasons change, and if you're not ready, winter's gonna hit you hard. It's one of those games where you blink and suddenly 2 in-game weeks have passed and you're like, uh-oh, my entire food stash is rotten and the giant tree guardian is mad at me. The cool part too is all the characters you can pick. They all have these goofy perks and flaws that make playing feel really different every time. Like one character is super strong but eats a ton, another can talk to ghosts, stuff like that. It really keeps it fresh, especially if you're swapping characters with friends and trying to figure out who works well together. And yeah, even though you die a lot, it's one of those games that's super hard to put down because you always feel like next time you'll do better, plus dying is part of the fun. Every ridiculous way you go out, starving in winter, getting flattened by a boss you didn't see coming, it's kinda hilarious in a messed up way. So if you want a game that's both super cute and super stressful, especially with friends, Don't Starve Together is perfect. It's one of those games that'll make you laugh, panic, and scream all at the same time. Just don't say I didn't warn you when you lose everything you built because someone left the fire unattended. Seven Days to Die. Okay, so 7 Days to Die looks kinda janky at first, like yeah, the graphics aren't gonna blow you away, but man, it's stupid fun once you really get into it. It's like this perfect mix of Minecraft-style crafting and full-on zombie horror, and every 7 in-game days, well, you know, that's when stuff goes crazy. The whole thing is set in this big open world where you gotta scavenge for food, tools, guns, whatever you can find. You're breaking into old houses, looting cupboards, hoping there's something other than an empty can or rotting sandwiches. And when night hits, it's super tense. Like you'd hear zombies outside your base scratching at walls and you're just hoping they don't tear through everything you built before sunrise. And then every 7th night, there's this big blood moon event. Zombies come at you in crazy waves, faster, meaner, and they can destroy your walls like they're made of cardboard. It's one of those moments that's super intense for surviving. And the crafting and building, that part's super addictive. You can make these crazy bases like forts with spike traps, moats, electric fences, or you can just hole up in some creepy abandoned building and hope for the best. It's up to you. Every time you survive a blood moon, you kind of feel like, alright, let's go explore more and upgrade this dump. And before you know it, you've spent hours collecting materials and upgrading your hideout. That's what makes 7 Days to Die so hard to put down. Even though it's a bit rough around the edges, the game keeps you hooked with that perfect mix of scavenging, crafting, and oh crap, zombies are coming stress. Plus, if you jump in with friends, it's hilarious hearing everyone panic and then seeing who actually knows what they're doing. Super fun and super replayable. Just don't expect to get much sleep once you're hooked. Raft. You're just this little person stuck on a tiny plank of wood in the middle of nowhere, but man, as soon as you play for like an hour or two, you're like, oh, this is way deeper than I thought. It's really easy to lose track of time because there's just so much stuff to do. 1 second you're like, I'll just catch a few planks, and next thing you know, it's been 3 hours, and you're halfway to making a floating mansion with stairs and gardens and even some goofy furniture. And yeah, the shark, bro. I gotta talk about that stupid shark. It's like this uninvited guest who just will not leave you alone. Every few minutes you hear that ominous music and you just know it's gonna come take a big chunk out of your boat again. Half the time you're like, ugh, seriously, I just built that? And the other half, you're panicking, trying to jab him with a spear. It's funny too because you can jump into the water to grab some stuff and it's like you can feel the shark watching you, just waiting for you to look away for 1 second. And then as you go, you can do all this cool stuff like setting up big nets so you don't have to manually pick up every single plank, or make water purifiers so you're not dying of thirst every 5 minutes. Plus, there's this light story tucked in there too. You can find these random radio towers and shipwrecks and like pieces of a bigger world. It's kinda neat and adds a reason to explore and move past just like surviving. And I swear, one of the most fun things is just seeing your raft slowly grow from this tiny junker into some crazy floating base. Like, you'll have a second floor, crops, maybe a chair to chill in. Even when the ocean's trying to kill you, it feels kinda cozy and personal. So yeah, Raft is one of those games that's perfect when you just want to jump in, hang with friends and goof around. It's super lighthearted, sometimes stressful, and always a good time. Totally recommend this one if you like games where you can chill and also freak out a little. It's kind of the best of both worlds. State of Decay 2. Okay, so State of Decay 2 is one of those games that just throws you into this super gritty zombie world where you gotta figure stuff out fast. It's not like super flashy or anything, it's more like, hey, the world's ended, there's zombies everywhere, you gotta survive, good luck. And honestly, that's what kind of makes it so much fun. You're mostly scavenging, looking for food, meds, ammo, all that good stuff, and trying to keep this scrappy little base together. Every time you go out into town, you're kind of like, alright, please don't let anything horrible happen, and most of the time something horrible does happen. Like you'll get into a fight you weren't ready for, or your favorite character's tired and injured and you gotta drag them back to base before a big horde shows up. And man, that permadeath is brutal too. Losing someone you built up for hours kinda hurts. And it really keeps you on edge because every choice matters. It's also what makes your survivors feel real. They've got their own skills and personalities, they argue with each other, they sometimes leave if they're upset, all that. It feels like you're juggling this tiny community more than just playing a game, you know? Super stressful at times, but kinda satisfying when you pull it off. And the base building part, super chill in between all the crazy stuff. You're upgrading rooms so you can grow food or craft weapons, making sure everyone's safe, kinda like playing a tiny Sims game in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. That combo of scavenging base stuff and making sure your people don't die is super addictive. Like you always feel there's one more thing you gotta do before you log off. Conan Exiles. Conan Exiles is one of those games where you jump in thinking, I'll just mess around for a bit, and then like 6 hours later you're halfway naked, covered in mud, and trying to build a giant fortress in the desert. It's that kind of game. Super raw, super messy, and honestly, a ton of fun once you embrace the chaos. You basically start with nothing, like seriously nothing, and you gotta figure it all out. You're punching rocks, gathering sticks, crafting some dorky clothes, and hoping a huge monster doesn't just come squash you while you're busy. The world is huge too. One minute you're in some dusty canyon fighting for your life, then you wander into this lush jungle, then a snowy mountain, and suddenly you're freezing to death. Every area feels super different, which is kinda crazy when you remember it's all one giant map. And the survival stuff, it can be brutal. You gotta eat and drink or you straight up die, and food goes bad if you leave it too long. Plus you gotta fight all kinds of nasty things. Humans, big ugly beasts, creepy demons, and they do not mess around. Early on you're just swinging some junkie club hoping to knock stuff out before it eats your face. It's tough, but also super funny when things go wrong. Like 1 second you're like, I got this, and then a rhino charges you into a cliff. Classic Conan stuff. And yeah, it's kind of janky at times, like sometimes the AI freaks out or you accidentally knock your buddy off a cliff. But honestly, that's part of the charm. Conan Exiles never takes itself too seriously. It's one of those games that feels like a wild sandbox where anything can happen, and most of the time it's something ridiculous and hilarious. So if you want a survival game that's super brutal, super messy, and really unpredictable, with a ton of crafting, fighting, and goofing off with friends, Conan Exiles is just one of those games you gotta check out. It's not perfect at all, but it's such a crazy fun time that you don't really care. DayZ. You spawn in some random part of this huge map, sometimes by the ocean, sometimes deep in a forest, and you gotta find food, water, clothes, maybe a weapon, all while hoping some other player doesn't shoot you on sight. Every little sound freaks you out because you never know if it's a zombie, an animal, or another player sneaking up. It's like the most stressful scavenger hunt ever, and that tension is a big part of what makes DayZ so addicting. And yeah, the zombies are bad, but other players, oh man, they can be even scarier. Some people will help you out and give you supplies, sure, but most of the time they'll rob you blind or flat out take you out just for fun. That's where the game feels super unpredictable. Every encounter could go any direction. You could be all buddy-buddy 1 second and running for your life the next. And the whole survival thing, it's deep. You gotta make sure you're dressed warm enough if it's raining or you'll catch a cold. Gotta drink water or you'll pass out. Gotta eat food or you'll slowly starve. And don't even get me started on infections and broken legs. It's one of those games where you can spend an hour gearing up, then lose it all because you drank some nasty water or slipped off a roof. It's brutal like that, but also super thrilling. And honestly, what keeps pulling people back is that you never really feel safe. Even when you finally get a backpack full of food and a rifle with some bullets, you still feel like you're one bad decision or one unlucky encounter away from losing it all. That fear, mixed with these weird quiet moments where you're just walking through an empty town listening to the rain, gives DayZ this super eerie, unique vibe. Oh yeah, DayZ is super harsh and kind of a pain sometimes, but that's exactly what people dig about it. It's one of those games where telling your stories is half the fun. Like that time you and some stranger built a fire together in the dark, then someone sniped him right as he handed you a can of peaches. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and that's what keeps it so good. This war of mine. Now this here is not your typical shooty, kill everything survival game. It's way more grounded and real. You play as regular civilians just trying to live through a war-torn city, and that's what makes it feel super tense and emotional. So here's kind of how the game works. During the day, you stay at your shelter, which is this big beat-up house you and a few other survivors hide in. This is where most of the base building happens. You gotta manage all the basics. You build stuff like beds so people can sleep, a crude stove so you can cook food, rainwater collectors so you can drink, and even things like heaters because if the temperature drops too much, everyone gets sick. It's super hands-on, like you're really trying to make a tiny, safe home in this awful world. Every little upgrade matters because everyone in your shelter depends on you. And every character is different too. They have their own skills, like one guy might be better at scavenging or someone might be a good cook. Plus, they have their own personalities and they get sad or depressed if stuff goes wrong. It's wild because you'll feel super responsible for them. If someone dies or even just gets sick and you can't help them, everyone's morale drops and it can cause this horrible ripple effect where people lose hope. Then at night, the game switches gears. You pick one of your characters to go out scavenging for supplies, food, medicine, materials to build more stuff back home. And the game becomes this tense side-scrolling stealth thing. You sneak into places like abandoned supermarkets, destroyed hospitals, or even other people's houses, trying to find anything you can take back. Every night is super risky because you never know if someone else is gonna be there. Maybe you'll find some scared old couple you can rob, maybe you'll run into armed soldiers or other scavengers who won't hesitate to shoot you. Every little noise feels super loud because you don't want to draw attention. And man, the game throws really tough choices at you. Like, you can steal food from innocent people who also don't have much, and sure, you survive another day, but then whoever you send out will come back feeling super guilty. It's that kind of game. You're constantly choosing between surviving and keeping your humanity. Plus, food is always short, meds are rare, and winters can straight up kill you if you're not careful. There's this constant stress of trying to make sure everyone eats at least a little, stays warm enough, and doesn't completely give up. And all this happens over a bunch of days until the war finally ends, but you never really know exactly when that's gonna happen. It could be 20 days, it could be 40, so you just gotta keep going. Every new day feels like a tiny victory, especially if nobody... That's what makes this war of mine so different. It's not just about surviving physically, it's about surviving emotionally too. It's slow and dark and super sad sometimes, but also really meaningful. Every time you finish a run, you look back and realize all those little decisions added up. It's super powerful and one of the most memorable survival games you can play because it doesn't sugarcoat anything. It's raw, stressful, and feels way too real.